Gaze around. In every single corner of our planet, life thrums with astonishing diversity. This is the animal kingdom, a world of pure instinct, struggles for survival, and a rugged beauty that captivates us. We begin in the humid rainforests of South America, where a video captures the precise instant a jaguar launches a swift charge against a capybara. As the largest feline of the Americas, its spotted coat affords perfect camouflage in swampy settings, and its potent jaw, capable of overcoming the defenses of larger prey, reflects adaptations for a varied diet. The capybara, in turn, the world's largest rodent, thrives in semi-aquatic habitats, making it a frequent quarry along the riverbanks and wetlands of the Pantanal and Amazon. Moving to the African savannas, another dramatic encounter unfolds between a crocodile and a hippopotamus. Although the hippopotamus is not a classic predator, its colossal bulk and territorial temperament positions it as one of Africa's most hazardous creatures, even surpassing lions in incidents involving humans. Most often, crocodiles shun direct confrontations with adults, choosing to withdraw when faced with the impressive might of the hippo. Closer to the human world, in rural pastures, an unusual scene drew attention. After a cow gave birth in the field, a nearby mare tried to adopt the calf. What appeared to be a curious gesture swiftly escalated into a clash. The cow, perceiving the insistent approach, reacted with aggression to shield her offspring. The two females entered into a dispute, while the diminutive calf, still disoriented, was caught in the middle of the upheaval. On the African plains, an eland antelope commits a serious error by challenging two rhinoceroses. These massive herbivores, built like tanks with sharp horns, seldom tolerate provocation. The horn of one of the rhinos strikes the antelope's neck directly, and it realizes its miscalculation too late. A thoroughly poor notion. Rhinoceroses, with their limited eyesight, prioritize territorial defense. On the bank of an African river, a family of warthogs confronts an opportunistic crocodile trying to capture a piglet. The swift reaction of the parents, combining efforts to rescue their young, illustrates the power of family cooperation in species like warthogs, which have developed group strategies to offset predators. This cooperative instinct is not mere chance, but an adaptation that increases the prospects of flourishing in predatory ecosystems. Two elephants colliding with such force that one of the tusks shatters. These giants, the largest terrestrial mammals, exhibit contests that frequently involve males vying for resources or females, unveiling the mechanics of social dominance. The breakage of a tusk, although uncommon, exposes the vulnerability even in the most robust individuals, impacting feeding and hierarchical standing. It is the raw power of nature in motion. In another error of judgment, a spotted hyena approaches a hippopotamus, perhaps mistaking it for an inert carcass. Far from the stereotype of simple scavengers, hyenas are sophisticated predators. Their body structure, with elevated shoulders and a bite that exerts immense pressure, is optimized for dealing with bones and accessing nutritious marrow. The hyena nearly got into trouble this time. It was by a hair's breadth. An adult hippopotamus represents a force of nature capable of inflicting irreparable damage with an attack of unmatched power. The simple contact with an active animal of this magnitude, even an accidental touch, could have resulted in critical and definitive consequences for the hyena. And the title of king does not always guarantee dominion. On an African plain, a lion was chased out of the territory when the matriarch of a herd of elephants made it unequivocally clear who truly rules. With silent strength and an unyielding presence, she reminded us that respect belongs to those who lead with wisdom. This very instinct to dominate the territory transforms when offspring are involved. But sometimes the savanna does not only recount the story of species, it recounts the story of individuals, of legends. This is one of the final recollections of the celebrated lion Lorcaloup, known as the buffalo hunter. He did not merely hunt, he mastered this art with an agility and persistence that seemed to defy reality. He never surrendered. However, what rendered Lorcaloup iconic was not just his strength. It was his heart. He was a devoted father, a lion not only in name but in his very essence. He ensured that his cubs ate first. He stood guard, a vigilant protector, while his family rested. One moment, he was like this, at the pinnacle of his vitality. And then, he became like this. Calm, I will explain. On a February night in 2025, the reign of Lorcaloup, who was about to turn 8 years old, came to an end. He was discovered beside the carcass of an eland, the sign of his last solitary battle. It is believed that he faced the enormous antelope alone, an act of absolute courage, but tragically a hazardous one. Elands are not easy prey. They fight with the strength of one who has nothing to lose. In that battle, Lorcaloup sustained a serious injury, an injury that sealed his fate. The harsh reality is that, in all likelihood, a pack of hyenas finished what the eland had begun. What makes this departure even more somber is the mystery. Approximately 1 year ago, his brother, Olabor, famed for confronting 40 hyenas by himself, vanished without a trace. The coincidence is chilling, but nature does not always offer explanations. The Masai Mara is a place of relentless beauty and deep mysteries. Rest in peace, Lorcaloup. Let us consider the hyenas in action against buffaloes. Although they rarely assault healthy adults, given the buffalo's aggression and size, they exploit vulnerabilities. Hyenas are clever predators, but hunting an adult buffalo, for instance, is extremely uncommon. Nevertheless, they are opportunists. It has been observed that hyenas attack weakened, injured buffaloes, or, chiefly, those stuck in dry mud.
In the savanna, one assumes that over 200 kilograms of muscle guarantees supremacy, but that rule is void when the opponent carries mere milligrams of a lethal chemistry. We are speaking of the black mamba. The encounter between the lion and this serpent is an asymmetric contest. The feline possesses dense bones and muscular shielding, but the mamba does not play by the rules of physical strength. It brings to the equation a supernatural agility and a potent neurotoxin that attacks the central nervous system. It is crucial to understand that the mamba does not hunt lions. It is a creature that avoids conflict. When an incident occurs, it is born of error, be it the surprise factor of a lion inadvertently stepping on the camouflaged reptile or the inexperience of a young feline who was unaware of the serpent. Natural history offers us relevant proof of this lethal capacity. Field records from the Masai Mara National Reserve in Kenya document incidents where a young lioness, in the prime of her strength, succumbed to a mamba's venom in a matter of minutes. Even more striking, and unfortunate, is a report from the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. Observers reported that a single mamba, cornered and in desperate defense, was responsible for the demise of an adult lioness and her cub. Hyenas can also be targeted by mambas, but, just like with lions, incredibly enough, it is very rare for them to cross paths. However, we must not underestimate the lion's biology. Its systemic resilience is legendary. There are fascinating accounts, such as in Amboseli National Park, of lions that made contact with black mamba venom. Despite suffering severe convulsions due to the neurotoxin and being on the brink of collapse, their bodies managed to metabolize the venom, resulting in a full recovery. Another notable case in the Serengeti documents a lioness surviving the strike of a puff adder, overcoming the initial shock, and living a full life. The outcome of these rare encounters, therefore, is never guaranteed. It depends on a veritable Russian roulette of biological variables: the amount of venom injected, the exact location of the point of contact, and the feline's immune state. In a moment of rare tension, nature's given us a video with overwhelming impact. A direct encounter between a tiger, its ecosystem's apex predator, and a king cobra, one of the planet's most venomous snakes. This footage, which happened in the heart of Tadoba National Park, one of India's most important wildlife sanctuaries, quickly became a global phenomenon. The images that were released are breathtaking. They show the imposing feline backing away with a caution that's almost reverent. This man said he wanted to take a bath in the lake, but the urge passed quickly. I think it was the cold. While the lake is being refilled after maintenance, a fascinating behavior can be seen in the young Nile crocodiles. They instinctively try to climb and jump out of the deeper areas, showing remarkable agility. It's precisely to contain this energy that the lakes were designed with sheet pile retaining walls. These vertical barriers create a much safer work environment for the keepers and ensure the crocodile's own well-being. So, be careful when you're boating on rivers infested with Nile crocodiles, because they're already in training. The search for the perfect African wildlife picture had a sad outcome in Kafue National Park. A regrettable incident resulted in the death of an 80-year-old American tourist and left 5 others injured after an enraged bull elephant charged the vehicle they were in. Guided by an experienced professional, they were traveling the vast trails of Kafue, one of Africa's largest parks. For unknown reasons, the 5-ton elephant, which was initially at a safe distance, began to show signs of agitation and moved aggressively towards the vehicle. In a matter of seconds, the animal's colossal mass reached the car, impacting it violently and using its tusks to flip it over. What would you do in that type of situation? With the lion population growing in Gir National Park in India, the big cats are increasingly wandering into cities and towns searching for space and food. This new reality creates scenes of great tension. In a recent incident, 2 lions came face to face with dogs. Luckily, a gate separated the animals, preventing an attack, but it just goes to show the risky closeness between wildlife and urban life. After a few seconds, a man comes out to investigate what happened. I'm guessing he simply had no idea that 2 lions were right there just 10 seconds earlier. Imagine when he checks the security camera footage the next day. The scene begins with a moose, majestic and maybe a little curious, wandering near a kid's playground and then getting closer to the property's garage. The peace, however, is quickly shattered. A pinto horse enters the scene, galloping decisively toward the moose. The video's narrator notes that, apparently, horses don't like the presence of moose and chase them off their property, a territorial behavior that, while not widely documented, is on full display in this footage. At the end, the horse is seen by the fences, carefully watching the direction in which the intruder left, as if to make sure the threat was really gone. The protagonist is a spotted hyena who's shown to be extremely alert to the invisible presence of a lion, detected only by its smell. The scene plays out in the Maasai ecosystem, a backdrop of constant hunting and competition among predators, where survival is a game of sharp senses and strategy. The hyena needs to pinpoint the lion's location, a dangerous foe that wouldn't hesitate to kill it to defend its territory or its kill. I bet it's still running to this day. Impressive footage captured by fishermen in Mato Grosso do Sul reveals a yellow anaconda in predatory action on the banks of the Ivinhema River. The snake, known scientifically as Eunectes nateus, completely coils around an alligator, exerting a constant pressure, a constriction strategy that suffocates the prey by compressing its lungs and interrupting blood circulation. The video's author reports that the fight lasted for about 3 days, highlighting not only the anaconda's sheer brute strength, but also its patience. These snakes can actually fast for months after a substantial meal, conserving energy in seasonal ecosystems like the Pantanal. But nature doesn't forget carelessness. A helmet might not prevent an accident, but it will absorb impacts. In unexpected encounters with wildlife, staying alert and using protection is absolutely essential. In a really touching video, a baby elephant slips and falls, and the family immediately rushes to help it up, entering defense mode. The man filming didn't have a clue of the danger he was in. The larger elephant snapped into protection mode around the calf. Bravery also emerges in unlikely defenses. An eagle, a formidable predator with a wingspan of up to 2 meters and sharp talons, attacks a chicken chick, but is repelled by a courageous dog that protects the mother and the chicks. On a safari at the Boltierskap Private Game Reserve in South Africa, a rare scene unfolds. A rhinoceros confronts an elephant, highlighting the raw power of nature in action. Captured on October 3rd by guest Natalie Vandenberg during a wildlife viewing drive. Rhinos and elephants don't always get along. There's a tense standoff, with the animals facing each other before charging one against the other in a collision of horn against tusk. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. See you soon!